Hey, everybody, thank you for clicking on Friday night Eyes Open. And Chris will be joining soon. We've got a lot of things to talk about, and we'll be uh, sending, okay, we'll be spending some time on Haiti. What's happened in Haiti over the past week since we last talked on Monday. And um, I want to get a little bit of history of Haiti, the Dominican Republic. Um, so we'll talk to Chris about those things, and we got some. Of course, we got the Twitter scroll and a couple other things to talk about. But let's begin with saying hello, Chris. How are you?
Good, Barry. How are you this evening? How's the audience?
Um, I'm doing all right. We'll find out how the audience is as they slowly come in or watch at their convenience. Leave us a comment. Let me know how y'all are doing. Um, St. Patty's Day weekend coming up before we forget, and just a reminder that could be some gatherings that are potentially soft targets.
Always, right? And I think a lot of people have um, lowered their guard. You see, since nothing's really happened, and because of that, that's the best time to attack people. When you don't think anything is going on, well, then I'm attacking you. So, right, as always, when we're going out, attacks can occur anytime, right? So just just be vigilant, and always be aware of your surroundings. Just pay attention, you know. If you see something that's not the norm, and you get that funny feeling, pay attention to it. You know, that's your gut talking to you. You need to listen to it. So I'm gonna leave it at that. Pay
Yeah,
attention.
there
That's all.
also um, a big weekend for college basketball tournaments. All of the major conferences have their men's basketball tournament this weekend because that determines who goes into the NCAA tournament, March Madness. Here we are, March 15th,
Yep.
and so March Madness is going to be kicking off. So there are going to be, and again, um, not only the populace but possibly the local law enforcement, the area security. As you said, nothing has happened, so we can kind of take it easy, with the exception of places like New York City, where there's a constant um, pro-Palestinian uh, effort going on that is clashing with police as well as others. Outside of that, um, Scientology is being protested really heavily, but they are far from the people protesting them are incredibly entertaining. They're not raging with anger like other situations have drawn out of the populace. So um, yeah, just wanted to make sure and bring that to everybody's attention right off the pop that this could be a weekend where things could, you know, people could take advantage of soft targets.
Exactly.
Yes, and we say hello to Pink Flamingo. She says hi to Barry and Chris. We thank you. Pink Flamingo's joined us on here before. And of course, it's Friday night, so we'll talk a little bit. And then if anybody wants to hop up here with us, they'll be free to do so and welcome to do so. So let's, Chris, before we do anything with the bookmarks or the Twitter scroll, um, let's talk about Haiti
Okay.
because I don't have a lot on the scroll on Haiti tonight. And and let's talk about the history of Haiti, the Dominican Republic, the island itself, uh, an integral stop port wise for the 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 slave trade back in the 17 and 1800s, from Africa over to the Caribbean, up to the East Coast, from the East Coast back over to Africa, the Golden Triangle, as it was called, because so much money was made with human trafficking in the form of enslavement.
Right.
Um, so, with that background set, talk a little bit about the Dominican Republic and Haiti, the two countries that share that island.
All right. So, um, we'll go back. Let's start back um, with slavery in Haiti. Okay. We'll go
Okay.
back to like maybe 1700s, right? When when Haiti was pretty much the pearl of the Caribbean, right? At that time, it was Saint, well, I think it was called Saint. Was it Saint Domingue or Saint Domingue? But the thing about Haiti's Haiti's slavery, um, at that time, the French were very brutal. Okay, and of course, everyone knows. I hope everyone know about the slave trade route. From west coast of Africa to like the Caribbean, and of course, the Americas, or at least what was called America, the United States at the time, and then through different islands through the Caribbean, and
They were actually they were the American colonies of Great Britain at the time.
right,
So
right, right, right. So we'll call them that, and then um, the slavery actually began. Um, should we say? I guess it'd be the late 17 or late 1800, or excuse me, in maybe 1600 time frame, right?
yeah, yeah.
So um, the slavery in Haiti was actually pretty brutal, right? They were, I mean, the slaves were, because I think there were a lot more of them. The French kind of did what they wanted to because they said we can replace them. You see,
Yeah.
that's not so much the same in other countries. But the slavery in France or slavery in Haiti was pretty brutal, and eventually
and
the
and
slaves.
France and as the United States were an American colony back then, the island was a French colony.
Yes, yes. Well, at least half of
So,
it was right. So half
right.
half is right. So the entire island is the island of Hispaniola. Okay,
Okay.
and to the west side is Haiti, and to the east is the Dominican Republic. All right. Now, both of them had slaves. The Dominicans were under Spanish rule, and the Haitian blacks were under French rule. So they have, one half the island speaks French, or at that time, they spoke French, and the other half
Hmm.
spoke Spanish. So, bottom line, in the 1800s, matter of fact, it was like 1791 to 1803, and then 1804 is when that's when the Haitian Revolution really was, right? So it was the most successful slave revolt in history, in human history, with the blacks really taking over Port-au-Prince in Haiti away from the French. Okay, now what's not told in this is that the blacks killed all the whites,
All of the whites.
all of the whites. They killed all the
Yes.
whites, right? And
Yes.
and also they anything that had to deal with France or white people, they got rid of. Okay, anything that reminded them of France or white people, they got rid of. So
Yes.
everybody says that they speak French. Oh, well, they do, but it's kind of like their second language. because, like I said, they wanted nothing to do with anything that reminded them of France. That's why they
That's
speak
kind of
Creole
that's
today.
where I was going to say that's where the birth of the language that we refer to as Creole. This is where it came from
Right.
this revolt.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Right.
go ahead. Yeah.
So so doing that, and that's why they speak Creole. Okay. So then on top of that, I think well, not I think a little bit later on, they actually went to the Dominican Republic and kicked the Spanish out and freed the black slaves in the Dominican Republic. Right. So now the entire island, the entire island of Hispaniola, is now called Haiti. Okay, you had the one half which was Haiti before, and the other half which is Dominican Republic, but now it's all Haiti. Okay,
Okay.
so this is we're gonna fast forward this up to like 1822. All right,
Okay.
so this is President Boyer. All right, I think he was the fourth or fifth president of Haiti. He asked for freed African American slaves and other freed slaves from other Caribbean countries to come to Haiti, which is back then called Saint Domingue, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, to make Haiti an all black country. That
Right.
was the purpose. That was the
Right.
purpose, to make it an all black country. They didn't want any white people living on the island whatsoever.
They wanted
So,
they wanted the part that was traditionally Haiti to stay traditionally Haiti with Haitians. They wanted to repopulate the area that was the Dominican Republic with the freed slaves from not
but,
only America but other locations.
right,
And they
right.
wanted to
So,
repopulate that part of the island.
right. So you had, like I said, freed African American slaves that came from Philadelphia, right, North Carolina, and they actually um, there's a peninsula or province in the Dominican Republic called Samana, and I'm very familiar with Samana because that's where I live, right? And when
Mm-hmm.
I've spoken to the audience and yourself about, I live in the Dominican Republic, and this is a
Mm-hmm.
province in which I live. So um, with that, this province was given to the African Americans, and in that this was the only English speaking province in the Dominican Republic at the time, right? So you can see the artifacts and the evidence to show you that African Americans actually lived there. There's only one African American Methodist church, one AME
Mm-hmm.
church in the Dominican Republic. And it's in Samana. It's the only one in the entire Dominican Republic. Furthermore, their last names in Samana are American last names: Kelly, Wilmore, Vanderhorst. Those are all American last names. They're not Spanish whatsoever. You
Yes.
see, and but then also their faces are different than every other Dominican there is. Okay, they have true African American features, which let you know. Guess what? Yeah, these are our people. But furthermore, the older population in Samana speaks English. They still speak English. The younger generation of Dominicans that are still of African American descent, they all speak, Spanish. None of them speak English.
Interesting.
Um, yeah, but and then also too, they also preserve our African American culture by every October. There's what they call the harvest. Okay, and in the harvest, what they do is traditional African American offerings at the church. Like they would bring like foods or and meat. Maybe if they had a cow, they would offer that cow or whatever they had to um, to the altar at church. Okay, so it's a giving of a gift to God because you brought us this far, and this is we want. This is what we want to give you. But then
Yeah.
also,
Returning a portion of the bounty.
right, exactly.
Yep.
but then also the dances, and then the food. Okay, was all African American. So, that's how you know that's our blood, African American blood, there in the Dominican Republic. It's there. Um, was that Puerto Plata, some in Santo Domingo, but then also in Haiti as well. So in Port-au-Prince, there was a large population of black Americans that actually lived there. But then a lot of the other black Americans decided that they didn't want to stay in Haiti. They said, one, it was too hot. Two, the Haitians didn't treat them well. And three, there was the religious cultural difference because the Haitians practiced voodoo and the black Americans were Christians. So a lot of the black Americans said, I don't want to deal with this and move back to the United States. Right. And that's a little bit of history there. But going back to Haiti in that time frame, this is about the 1822 time frame, 1822, 1830. It was all black country. There were no white people because they kicked out the Spaniards, and it was just black people all the way around. Black people from the United States, black Haitians, and black people from the Caribbean, all on one island. But of course, it didn't work. All right. The Spaniards came back in and took it back over, and they split the island back up again. And Haiti was, you know, um, put back. The border was put back to where it was. But for a
Right.
while there, Haiti, the Haitians actually controlled the entire island. Right. So um, even
And they still
later on,
and they still look at culturally. They still look at the whole that Spain took that land from them.
yeah,
That the whole island is Haiti. Just so that
right.
those listening know.
Right. So I'm gonna fast forward this up to like maybe 1940s, 50s.
Okay.
So when Rafael Trujillo became president of the Dominican Republic, of course he didn't like the Haitians. Okay, and what he did is he did the opposite of what Boyer did. So instead of bringing blacks to the Dominican Republic, he replaced them and brought in a bunch of white people to whiten up the island. You see,
Yeah.
so even though the Dominican Republic is still predominantly of African descent, I mean, there's still, you know,
There's a significant white presence in the
right,
Dominican Republic.
right, but the majority of the people are of African descent. There's
Right.
no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And that's just a little bit of, that's just a tad bit of the history of the Dominican Republic. But then also in the Dominican history books, they pretty much removed what had happened when the Haitians, took over the Dominican Republic. And I was asking them, like, well, how come that's not in the history book? Like, well, that's Haitian history. That's not Dominican history.
History
So,
is written by the winners of the war.
right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
All right. Okay. So now let's focus. Let's focus. Let's focus on your time in Haiti. When
right, right,
when exactly were you? You were part of the. You were okay. There was a there was an assassination, and there had been a revolt. There was an assassination, instability, and the UN sent in a peacekeeping mission, and you were part of that, correct?
right. So this is in 2014, right? I was supposed to be contingent commander of all U.S. law enforcement advisors in Haiti at that time, working with um, their SWAT unit, their special weapons and tactics unit at the command level. So at the time, I was in the Dominican Republic, and I got this email saying, you need to fill out this paperwork. And I called the recruiter that sent me stuff. I'm like, you got the right guy. He's like, you are Chris Martin. I said, yeah. He's like, you read my background, and I'm like, you sure? He's like, yeah, you're the right guy. Fill out this paperwork. I said, cool. So they didn't give me all the information I wanted. He's like, well, you have to, go seek out that information. But where I lived in the Dominican Republic, there was a Haitian consulate like right up the street from where I lived. So I go up there and I speak to the diplomat and I said, hey, this is who I am. This is what I'm getting ready to do. I need some information about Haiti. And he's like, well, I can't give you this information because X, Y, and Z. He's like, well, what you can do? He's like, why don't you just go to Haiti? Okay. So I go to Santo Domingo, get a ticket, get on the bus, and I go to Haiti, right? And I'm going to Port-au-Prince. I'm in Port-au-Prince. I get off the bus, and I keep telling you this, that the air is still, right? That's the first time I was in Haiti, and the air was still.
And anybody that's been to anywhere in the Caribbean knows that the air is never still.
Now,
The air is always moving, whether it's just a slight breeze or a refreshing breeze because it is hot, or it's blowing because the storm's coming. I mean, there's
right?
no like still.
Well, this air was still, and I was like, whoa, what's wrong with this? So, I ended up getting it because this is my first time there. I didn't speak. I don't speak Creole. You know, and I was looking for a taxi cab driver, and my taxi cab driver happened to speak Spanish. So I was like, oh, perfect. And of course I speak Spanish because I live in the Dominican Republic, and I go there, and I got a hotel, and I go to my hotel room and I'm looking around. I'm like, okay, this isn't too bad. I go back downstairs, and when you go into a hotel, they ask you for your passport, right? First thing they ask you for, especially if you're a foreigner, you got your passport. Yeah, here it is. Oh, they're like, you're American? I'm like, yeah. They're like, oh, we thought you were Dominican or from somewhere else. And being black, you never mistaken. No one ever takes you for being an American as a black person. It doesn't happen, especially in all black country. You either think
Interesting.
like, yeah, yeah, like nobody ever mistakes you for being a black person. So, um, you know, I go out and just to get a lay of the land, right? Because I'm like, man, I'm like, I don't know anything about this place. I'm like, why don't I'm like they haven't told me anything about what I'm gonna be doing, and I just I wasn't sure. So I go down to Porter. I want to check it out, right? So they took me down to Port-au-Prince because where I stay, I was up in Paytonville, and they took me down to Port-au-Prince, and we're driving around Delmas, and I said, well, here, take me close to the embassy and to like where the SWAT school is, because there's a SWAT training center, and they let me in. And I just was asking questions, uh, like, what are you guys doing, and how does this work? And they're like, well, you're going to be training the SWAT team and at the command level, and you're going to be doing X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, well, this is what we did in Afghanistan. I said, uh, and it failed miserably. You know, I like
Yeah.
I did 3 combat
Yeah.
rotations. And I'm like, this is what a lot of conventional forces were doing. And I said they lost. We lost. I said, why are we doing this here? I'm like, it doesn't work. So like at that point, I was like, well, if this is what you're doing, I'm like, I don't want to do this again. And so I basically turned the job down. Because I'm like, I'm not doing that. Plus, I didn't speak the language, Creole, and then the whole voodoo thing that kind of freaked me out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
So after that, I kind of like bounced back. I not kind of, but I bounced back to the dorm rep. All right, and then that's why I got hired by Academy Blackwater. And I went to Africa. I went to Nigeria. To train their SWAT teams. I ended up training their SWAT teams. They've been doing the same thing, right? Just in a different country. But then in 2018, I did go back to Haiti again, and this time with my company to talk to like. Of course, you have to talk to the embassy, our embassy, and we call the public political economics advisor, which is called we call it a polycom. To they're there to help you find work or to get your business, established in Haiti. Um, but when I was there for the second time, like I'm getting off the plane, I go outside the airport, and the air was still still. I'm like, bro, something is up with this place. I like, there's just no way. It was 2 times, right? And then, you know, we go out, and I like Haiti. Don't get me wrong, because historically, Haiti, like I said, was a first black, first free black republic in the world. Okay, they got their freedom from France. They killed all the French people. They the
They
history is really
terrorized Europe. Okay, I
right,
mean they weren't in Europe, but their actions on the island just sent a shockwave throughout all of Europe. That
right,
oh my gosh, the black people have figured out how to revolt. There's going to be revolts everywhere,
right, and
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 they're
and and then the whole thing was, the white slave masters didn't want that chain reaction to go
right,
through, the Caribbean and then come up to the States. They're like, we
exactly,
need to stop this, you know.
right.
So, but with that, um, even when I went to the History Museum in Port-au-Prince, they had all the Haitian leaders and presidents and prime ministers. They have busts of them, you know, all over, the museum, and I'm like, man, this is really dope. I'm like, you know, American history is nothing like this, you know. So the thing,
Especially as far as Black American history
right,
compared with
right,
Haitian history.
right. The Haitians are they're pretty tough, and I honestly I respect that history. I think it's really cool, you know.
Hmm.
Um, and then but the thing that really kind of got me was my host. Like when I first went there, I stayed at the hotel. The second time I went there, I was staying at like it was almost like the host
Like
lived
a
upstairs
bed and
and
breakfast kind of thing.
kind of sort of,
Yeah.
but the host was upstairs and I had like the whole downstairs to myself. You know what I'm saying? It's two separate homes. So every Sunday he would bring me down pumpkin soup. The first Sunday he brought me down pumpkin soup, right? And I don't like pumpkin pie, pumpkin nothing, right?
Pumpkin
And
soup. Soup
pumpkin
made out of a pumpkin.
pumpkin soup, right?
Okay.
So he pumpkin soup and bread and and some coffee. And he's like, this is pumpkin soup, and like I kind of like looked at him like pumpkin soup, like man, who eats pumpkin soup, you know? And then he told me the significance of what pumpkin soup was about, and he told me he's like, Chris, this was a delicacy, and the blacks, the slaves, were not permitted to eat this. Only the white slave masters and the French were permitted to have this, and it was served only on Sundays. And he told me after the revolt, and they killed the white people and um, really obtained their freedom, were the slaves or were the free blacks allowed to have pumpkin soup, and it was served on Sundays. So at that point, I was like, all right, cool. You know, I'll just eat the pumpkin soup and I'll shut up. You see,
Yeah.
I just shut up because what it was really saying to me is you're free. Our people weren't allowed to do this back in the day during slavery, and now you're free to have this. To have this, you see, even though it was just pumpkin soup, it was a delicacy.
Yeah.
But the point is, he's really saying you're free and you can do things that white people can do too. And I was like, to me, it took a little bit for that to set in, right? But every time he brought me the pumpkin soup on Sundays, I never said a blessed word. I always ate it because of how symbolic it really was. And that's why I have such a strong um, feeling for Haiti. You see, I think um, every black person should make a trip to Haiti to see the history. And if you eat pumpkin soup, you'll be like, wow, this is really, really, it's really cool because it tells a lot about, even though it's history, and I know I'm not a Haitian, but I'm black, and of course I'm an African descendant, so it still kind of resonated with me. See what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
absolutely,
So,
absolutely.
so
Um, yeah, but at the same time, um, Haitians are very independent and look at themselves as a distinct nationality,
they do,
and they don't they don't necessarily like either black Americans and more specific, they really don't like white Americans or any
well,
white Europeans. Still,
well. Let me see. At that time, I think as time goes on, things change. Okay, and you see that there are numerous NGOs in Haiti, and
hmm
a lot of these people are white. Okay, um, so the sentiment has obviously changed. Now I don't know when this occurred, but I'm like this. I even asked my host. I'm like, I mean, there's a lot of white people down here. I'm like, how do the Haitians really feel about white people? He's like, well, they tolerate them, but they really don't like them all like that. I said, oh, okay. So I'm like, historically, I'm like, it doesn't make sense for a whole. I like, why would a whole bunch of white people come here to Haiti just knowing the history? But or maybe they probably don't know the history of the country.
pro- probably not.
You
But
see,
and I wanted to point that out because here we are in 2024, where there is once again instability in Haiti, and once again the white European people are going to come and tell the Haitian people, here's what you're going to do to
right,
reestablish the and it hasn't worked. It's not going to work now, and I wanted all of this kind of laid out step by step so that people
right,
can see why it's not going to work now.
right. So I don't know. Maybe your audience knows, but the Haitian people actually forced to pay reparations back to France. Okay, I think it's like 500 million, right? But then there were other sanctions later on down the line that that kept Haiti from actually progressing to where um, other countries were in the Caribbean. But furthermore, the biggest takeaway out of this is because they fought for their freedom, okay, and they beat the white man or the Europeans and the Anglos. This is just this is how what I really believe. I really believe that this is the Europeans' way of getting back and saying, "How dare you?" Okay, they're saying you may have beaten us physically, but you will not beat us economically. Okay, we control the economics. Yes, you beat us. You're stronger. We know that, but economically, we control it, and we will crush you. And that's what they've been doing. Now think about it. This is the only successful Black revolution in all the Americas, right?
And they don't want any
All the rest
more.
of the countries, all the rest of the countries don't have these problems that Haiti has. You see, Haiti's the anomaly out of all of
Mm-hmm.
this.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't sit there and tell me that the Europeans aren't having their foot on Haiti's neck just because of this revolution, and they beat them. You see, that's what this really. That's why I think this a lot of stuff is really about.
I agree.
You know, I really do.
Yeah, I do too, because they've taken most of the natural resources, and this is
Yes.
just about, this is just about an attempt to remind that, we are not all equal in some people's
That,
eyes.
yes. Yes.
Okay, put it that way. Let me hop over here and say hi to Dennis Dixon, Pat Tolliver, and Guy Bassett. Thank you all for watching. Thank everybody for watching. If you got a question or a comment, or you want to hop up here with us, the link is at the top if you want to hop up. And if you have a question or comment, drop it in the comments, and we'll get to it. Um, let's kind of uh, shift gears here, and we will go to the Secret Service have identified a person of interest. Over 100 swatting phone calls targeting Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas and other senior Biden administration officials, including attacks made over the Christmas holidays. And that was all there was to that. So,
Yes.
Christmas. So that was December, January, February, March. Um, you would think these guys might be a little bit more on the ball on some of this stuff. Just something to think about.
Not our government.
Okay. Steve Bannon says MAGA should be, quote, prepared to go to prison, end quote, to enact their Project 2025 goal of taking over the federal government. He also says during this brief speech that he has several prison sentences currently hanging over his head, and that they should too. um, I don't know if you heard about this. Came in 3 hours ago. United Airlines Boeing 737 loses a panel mid-flight. Just taken off from San Francisco, and it was forced to divert to an Oregon airport. Plane landed safely. No injuries have been reported at this time. I'm not. I'm kind of glad I don't fly a lot.
Yeah.
Seem,
That guy was supposed to tell. He ended up killing himself, right?
yeah, yeah. And the latest on that is, um, like 3 days before that, he had told a CNN reporter, or CNN or Fox, or he had told one of the mainstream reporters that, if something happens to him and they say it's suicide, it is not.
And
And
I said that. I said what he shot himself twice in the head, but
yeah,
I was joking, but I wasn't joking.
right. He was suicided, as they say.
Yeah, right.
He was suicided, right.
Yeah.
So, uh, so yet another one, and this was, this is today. There's wheels falling off of them. The doors are popping open, and panels are falling off. An engine is falling off. Um, it's crazy.
Yeah. But that's Boeing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, not Airbus.
No, this is Boeing,
All right.
and
Okay.
and primarily it seems United Airlines. And again, this is just a second second source. Okay, we had tornadoes up here last night, man. I don't know if you heard or not. Um, Winchester, Indiana, about probably miles from where I'm at, got hit pretty hard. The majority of the damage and unfortunately deaths occurred in Ohio last night. Um, I've got a 1 minute video up that I took last night that was just that it was 3 separate times this happened. It was calm, it was quiet, and then all of a sudden it sounded like a freight train was coming at me, which,
Mm.
I was in the 1974 tornadoes. I've been in tornadoes before, but this sounded like it was just like, you know, right down the block. So of course I grab my phone and go out to record it. I can't see anything, but the wind was just so intense, and it was intense and on a limited basis and passed. And then there was a third one that I didn't record because kind of dawned on me it's dark out. You're not going to see it if until it's right on you. So maybe stay inside. The and the third one did the same thing. So I don't think they made land, but I think we had some tornadoes up in those systems that some cyclonic rotation, as they say, that just did not come down on the land over here. And that system eventually did come down. They did land over in Ohio, and unfortunately caused some tremendous damage and also loss of life.
Yeah.
All right. I want to talk about this for just a second because I had a short episode, breaking news that there was a ceasefire going to happen, and it was going to be a 6-week ceasefire. I had the details, and this came from Washington. I waited for a second source, as I said in that episode. Second source was the Jerusalem Post, and so I went with the breaking news. And it did not happen. It was there. I mean, it was nothing. There was no, nothing. And I want to point out what actually happened because there's no talk about any of it here in mainstream media, but in the rest of the world there is. Hamas denies agreeing to the U.S. proposal for ceasefire. So what happened was, it got down to the very last second when it was just about to be announced, and Hamas said no. Hamas said Israel something, and Israel comes out no. Hamas then comes out and says Israel did this to say no, to derail it. It was going to happen, and at the last second it did get derailed. Where's that put us at the moment as a world observing? Well, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has approved plans for an Israeli Defense Force ground operation into the city of Rafah in the southern Gaza Strip, with preparations for a large-scale evacuation of the Palestinian population currently underway and expected to begin soon. They've moved everybody. They've moved them all as far south as they could. They're at the Egyptian border. Now there is, quote unquote, a large-scale evacuation expected to begin soon. The preparations are currently underway. And your thoughts on that?
For the stuff going on Rafah. So this is the thing, right? Are they still doing these airdrops?
They are.
Okay.
Now there are some in the Middle East, some outlets that are reporting that as soon as they do an airdrop, they wait for 5 to 10 minutes and then bomb the location where they did the airdrop.
That's so what they're doing is, right, this is what they're doing. They're sucking them all in, right?
Yeah.
Right? And then they're dropping bombs on them to kill them all.
Yeah.
You see?
Allegedly. That's, our media is not reporting that. The rest of the world basically is. This comes from AP, the Associated Press, not Anarchy Princess. First nod to Anarchy Princess. Got another one coming up here. The Associated Press reviews leaked documents from the Adult Friend Finder site, and Trump-backed candidate Bernie Moreno's email was used to create a profile seeking men for one-on-one sex, looking for young guys to have fun with. That is that's the party of moral values, as they like to say. All right, I really want your opinion on this, Chris. The Oklahoma
Uh-huh.
National Guard will have guardsmen present for the total solar eclipse, which I did an episode on um, Wednesday night, um, April the 8th. 22 members of an elite chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear unit will be housed. Residents are being urged to stock up with 1 to 2 weeks of food in advance of the event. Communication facilities could become overloaded, possibly making cell phone calls difficult. Some states are saying make sure you know somebody that has a landline so if there's a need for an emergency call, you can get one out. Um, Here's the actual article. And residents being urged to stock up with 1 to 2 weeks of food in advance and to have their fuel tanks full. Some parts of the country could have traffic at a standstill or at least moving very slowly. All right. Is
Yeah.
this why do you need 2 weeks of food for a traffic jam? What's going on here? Any idea?
Yeah, it's something they're not telling us.
That's yeah, yeah. I mean, if you're if you're looking for a mass sign, you're looking for okay. When this happens, the whole world's going to know this is happening, and when this happens, this is your go sign because all the focus is going to be on this event. This is your go sign for. I mean, there's got to be at least some kind of suspicion that that's possible for
Right.
saying stuff,
But
because we're not going to, you know, there's not going to be any other. We have eclipses often.
right.
We don't often have this kind of eclipse, an absolute total eclipse over this much of North America. But eclipses occur all the time. It's just the moon coming between the sun and the earth. It just so happens that the way it lines up this time, we get an absolute total eclipse.
Right.
The sun is 400 times larger than the moon, and it's 400 times farther away. So the moon almost totally blocks the sun at certain times in certain parts of the world. And a bunch of the world is water. So a lot of the eclipses happen over water.
Right.
The point being that things don't occur because of the eclipse. The eclipse has to be a sign of something they're anticipating might occur.
So I, I don't know, like what could possibly occur. I really don't. Are they expecting some aliens or
I don't
something?
know. I don't know if they're expecting aliens or if it's a nationwide trigger for um, sleeper cells to um, rise. If we do have as many potential bad actors in this country um, as we are suspecting we might. Um, it doesn't matter what language you speak when you see the eclipse.
Right.
If that's a trigger, if that's a go, you
So
know.
so so here's my question. So Texas and Oklahoma, is Indiana too? Did you guys get that warning?
Indiana,
Yeah.
we haven't put out anything like that.
All right. So why only Texas and
And it's Texas, it's Oklahoma, Arkansas, um, Ohio. Um, Indiana's really the only one that hasn't put out anything, and Indiana has the absolute prime viewing. We are going to be in totalitarian state of total darkness, as close as you get, for almost 4 complete minutes. So we're just going to be at the right spot at the right time, barring cloud cover, to where you get the absolute optimum viewing. They are selling packages at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway to camp out there because it's so open. You'll be able to set your telescopes up, whatever you want to do. Um, and we haven't issued any warnings yet, but that doesn't mean, we've still got time.
But,
But other states are saying this. This is just the first one I've seen where they've specifically said we're going to have 22 members of the elite chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear unit in Broken Bow, as well as 150 highway patrol troopers.
Normally they wouldn't even say anything. They just do it.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I don't either. But as always, it's just, something to think about. There's a reason for it. This came in on the 14th. Florida Representative Matt Gaetz was subpoenaed to sit for a deposition in a civil lawsuit that involves allegations he had sex with a 17-year-old girl. That would be in Florida. Sources tell ABC News. Any comment on that?
Is he Republican?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, they're all the same. It doesn't matter. But here's the thing. We go ahead, Republican, Democrat, who's better. Like I said, Barry, to me, none of them are any good. I really, that's just how I see it.
Yeah. It just, some of them lean more Nazi than others.
Right.
Sorry. Donald Trump says, I took him very legally, quote unquote. Trump still says stealing classified government documents was legal. And this poster says it's a page from his autocrat playbook. Say a lie over and over again, and people will believe it's true. I just want to argue the point that it's not his autocratic playbook, that it actually comes from Nazi Germany. Goebbels, in the Art of Propaganda, the very first thing is if you tell a lie big enough and keep repeating it, people will eventually come to believe it. And that's exactly what is being pointed out. It also goes on to say, accuse the other side of that which you are guilty. Propaganda works best when those who are being manipulated are confident that they are acting on their own free will. There should be a asterisk saying see QAnon. And number 4, it is vitally important for the German Nazi state to repress dissent, for the truth is the mortal enemy of the lie and thus the greatest enemy of the Nazi state. Again, this comes from Joseph Goebbels, the Reich Minister for Public Enlightenment, also known as propaganda, in Nazi Germany. And tell a lie over and over again, people will believe it. And we've seen it happen.
Yep.
And he's going to trial for this, so this is allegedly. But along that line, Chris, if in your experience in law enforcement, if somebody is innocent, they generally want the trial pretty quick, don't they? Don't they want to have a trial, get it over with, and clear my name?
Well, that's what you would think, right? I mean,
yeah.
Under the Constitution, you're guaranteed a speedy trial. Period.
Unless you don't want one because you're afraid you're going to be found guilty.
I mean,
and then you can delay.
Yeah, I mean, but here's the thing: you have a jury of peers, you can have a bench trial. Sometimes, depending on the city and state or county or what you're in, maybe a bench trial will probably work out best for you instead of a jury of your peers. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, right. Yeah, you got options on trials, but all I'm saying is, if somebody is innocent, they generally want that trial to happen pretty quick.
Yeah.
And people that aren't innocent and might go to jail, do not want to go to
Right.
trial.
So they want to delay it. You know, um, I mean, you can't
Yeah.
deny the what's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be inevitable. What's going to happen? So you know, I know what you're saying. You know, and speaking of which, um, a guy that was in my academy class was indicted. Of course, it went to trial, and he was convicted. Okay. They asked for a new trial, which postponed his sentencing almost out for another year. You see, so
Mm-hmm.
um, you could go to trial, get convicted, and ask for another trial, and maybe the trial won't come up for it. You know, they have to have the hearing, the arguments, and all that stuff. But you could be out of jail for like another year. You
Yeah.
see, so it's
Yeah.
actually time for sentencing. So I
And
mean,
that exactly leads us into the next story about Peter Navarro. I mentioned Anarchy Princess earlier. Anarchy Princess is known um, for being behind Peter Navarro on just about every occasion that Peter Navarro gives a public statement. She's behind him with some kind of sign pointing out some truth about him that he does not want known. Anyway, um, he was sentenced to 4 months in jail. It's coming up on Tuesday, the 19th, that his jail sentence begins, and he was denied um, today. I believe it was today. It was either today or yesterday. Let me. It was yesterday. Um, D.C. Court of Appeals denied Peter Navarro's bid to remain out of jail while he appeals his conviction for
hmm
defying the January 6th Select Committee. Now, he has taken this to the Supreme Court and requested an emergency ruling from the Supreme Court on Monday to try to keep him from going to jail on Tuesday. So that's the latest with this guy. And he was one of Trump's right hand men, refused to testify in front of the January 6th committee, and they tried him for contempt of Congress, and he was found guilty, and uh, and that's where that is at. Uh, Laura Loomer, I'm not, I've heard the name. I don't know a lot about her. She said Donald Trump's life matters. This was yesterday. 4 years ago yesterday, Breonna Taylor was killed, and someone um, reminded the Twitter sphere that happened 4 years ago yesterday, and her life mattered. And Laura Loomer saw that and decided to say Donald Trump's life matters. You heathen. So I don't know. There are too many white people filled with hate for anybody that's
Right.
not white. And I think there's a lot of black people filled with hate for anybody that's not black. But you can kind of potentially rationalize that a little more based on history, which we have done here
Uh-huh.
in the beginning of this. Now, Chris, here's what's going on in Toronto, and this is a news report. Toronto police advised the public to reduce the risk of home invasions aimed at car theft by simply placing their key fobs near the front door. This strategy is suggested because culprits are primarily entering homes to access cars, not to steal other items. Again, you can kind of see
Across the
the
GTA,
video
up
that
nearly 25% in
oh,
2023 from the year
we'll
prior.
listen a little
Now,
bit.
police in York Region are out with a new safety tactic. Door stops have been handed out to some residents in an effort to prevent door kick break-ins to steal car keys. It's a move that has one Unionville family feeling uneasy.
So it's gotten to the point where they're actually just handing these things out to residents. That's, to me, shows that it's very high risk. I'm not sure if the whole street got it, but when I was talking to my parents about it, they said that they were handing it out to the houses that back up onto the park because they're more of a high risk area.
Allie Galinsky says her family received the doorstops along with installation instructions last week, just days after police went door to door in her neighborhood handing out pamphlets on auto theft prevention.
It gives you some tips like invest in an alarm system and security cameras, install motion sensor lights, keep your windows and doors locked, trim trees and shrubbery so there are clear views from the street, and don't post vacation plans or luxury purchases on social media.
The move is part of York Regional Police's ongoing efforts to slow skyrocketing car thefts in the region, an effort which includes community engagement and education.
Community Services was involved and created pamphlets and Faraday bags, as you've seen. Those have been dispersed through our community partners.
There's also updated advice for all vehicle owners, a message echoed by Toronto Police speaking at an Etobicoke safety meeting last month. Constable Marco Ricciardi had a new message for vehicle owners who keep their fobs in Faraday pouches.
To prevent the possibility of being attacked in your home, leave your fobs at your front door, because they're breaking into your home to steal your car. They don't want anything else.
Okay, I just wanted to get to the point where he actually says, leave your fobs out so they can steal your car.
All right, I mean, okay, so from
this is right of bang thinking, is it not?
Yeah, okay, so the proactive measure would, like, okay, for me, like that first video with the all four of them trying to do the home invasion, that's what it really is, you know. It's what we call, if you're inside the house, and someone's, you know, and someone actually breaks in to commit another crime, that's a burglary 1, okay? A B2, like for us, would be like if no one was home and they kicked in the door to commit another crime, that's a burglary 2 when you're not at home, all right? B1 is when you're in the house and they kick in the door, enter, to commit another crime, that's a B1. And when, you know, you're not at home, it's a B2. But my point is, look, you shouldn't, it's a felony, okay? It's a felony. And if you're trying to break into my house, and I heard the chief or whoever sit there and say, you know, just leave the key fob by the door, they don't want anything else. But what if that one case,
How do
you
you
know,
how do you know that? How do they?
you know,
Yeah.
that's why I'm just like, maybe you should have a gun. You know, that's
Okay.
my take on it. Okay, now let's say for instance they stole your car. Your car's insured. You see what I'm saying? Or it should be insured.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
you know it shouldn't be a problem. But my problem is you really don't know what these people out here thinking. So if they come in, you know, but who's to sit there and say what they said or whatnot? You know, dead men tell no tales. You see? So
Right.
that's all I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah. I haven't had a chance to talk to you about this. Aaron Rodgers, quarterback for the New York Jets, is a front runner. Bobby Kennedy Jr. talked about him extensively in an interview yesterday, explaining why he was the choice if he should be chosen. Aaron Rodgers, quarterback of the New York Jets. He's currently in Costa Rica, Central America, on an ayahuasca retreat. And after, let's see, here's the timeline. Wednesday, it was announced by the New York Times that Aaron Rodgers and Jesse the Body Ventura were 2 of the top candidates to be Bobby Kennedy Jr.'s running mate. That happened on Wednesday. And then it came out that Aaron Rodgers said the same things Alex Jones said about the Sandy Hook shootings, that they were all crisis actors. He said this allegedly to a CNN reporter in private. She wrote an article about it it blew up that Aaron Rodgers is this and this and this. I say all of that to get to this. Aaron Rodgers tweeted yesterday that he says, as I'm on the record saying in the past, whatever happened in Sandy Hook was an absolute tragedy. I'm not and have never been of the opinion that the events did not take place. Again, I hope that we will learn from this and other tragedies to identify the signs that will allow us to prevent unnecessary loss of life. My thoughts and prayers continue to remain with the families affected, along with the entire Sandy Hook community. Okay? He does not say anything at all about, my focus is, as it should be, being the quarterback of the New York Jets. He doesn't say anything at all about, I'm not seriously considering running for vice president, so my opinion should not matter. What he does is he posts something that is very politician-like. Uses a whole lot of words, specific words, thoughts and prayers. That is a politician's go-to when you're talking about some kind of mass casualty event.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I'd stay away from all that, and there's no real reason for you to even sit there and say allegedly what he said. Okay, just hey, look, it's a tragedy. I can't really say how the people feel, but I feel for the families of this event, and keep it like that. Why would you put yourself out there to say what Alex Jones said and knowing what happened to Alex Jones over that? That doesn't make sense to me.
Well, yeah, he's saying he didn't say that. He's saying that he never said that. He never said anything like that. Which is what, if you weren't worried about politics, you wouldn't be worried about what somebody said about you. I mean, he's kind of proven that in the past. This comes from Rolling Stone. It is an exclusive. Donald Trump's campaign is running online advertising to raise cash for 2024, and a portion of that ad spending is monetizing a pro-Nazi content on the streaming service Rumble, Rolling Stone has observed in monitoring the Donald Trump campaign. And it references the neo-Nazi along with Trump. The story can be seen there. Trump campaign ads are monetizing pro-Nazi content on Rumble.
Like I said, I don't.
Yeah, I know this ain't your thing.
I mean, but here's the thing, right? He I guess what he's trying. I really don't know what he's trying to do, but we do know that that those groups do support him, correct? So.
Oh yeah, absolutely, without doubt. Yeah. A matter of fact, make the RNC white again, quote unquote. That's how one source summed up the Trumpified Republican National Committee. For those that don't know, Trump's daughter-in-law is now the co-chair of the Republican National Committee that controls everything on the federal level, all the congressional races, all the Senate races, all the money that is raised, and they immediately fired almost everybody, and they're canceling a lot of their things, and the focus is simply going to be on raising enough money to get Trump elected, and that's the only thing that matters. The reason they said make the RNC white again is because a decision to cancel a successful minority voter outreach program that the Republican National Committee had just planned to expand. And this comes from the Daily Beast. So they were making some inroads. The Republicans were making some inroads into the black communities. And so Trump's saying, no, we're not going to do that. We got to spend the money on legal fees. Ken Buck, the Republican from Colorado, who on Monday said, I'm quitting at the end of this week, by the way. I can't do it anymore. I've got more morals than to support liars. And he was talking about his fellow congressman as well as the Republican candidate for Congress. And he is saying more Republican resignations are coming. Now, if there are too many more Republican resignations, the Republicans won't have a majority in the House of Representatives. Is that what they're trying to do? Are they trying to empty the seats in order to give the Democrats power heading into this 2024 election? Why would that matter? Let's say we have a reenactment. Let's say we have January 6th all over again. Only this time, Mike Johnson is in charge. Now, January 6th, normally, let's say the Democrats win the House of Representatives. Normally, they would be sworn in on January 1st. But that is up to the Speaker of the House, actually. So, it's going to be very important who the Speaker of the House is if there is indeed a repeat of January 6, 2021, which I anticipate there will be in some shape or form. I do. Yeah. I think that and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. I was going to talk to you about this at the end, but I'll talk to you about it right now. An incident that happened today, Chris. A real good friend of mine, real good guy, nice guy, salt of the earth kind of guy. We have a mutual friend. I haven't spoken to the mutual friend in a long time. He came over to my place today. He was shaking. He was white. He was angry. He was hurt. This mutual friend of ours, he saw him out in front of his house, and he pulled into his driveway and got out and said hi to the guy. And after about a 3 or 4 minute conversation, the guy went all MAGA on him and said, if Trump's not the president of the United States, then I'll go out there myself and burn the Capitol down, and then I'll come back here and kill every MF and Democrat I can find. And my friend said, okay, hey, I'm getting out of here. I'll talk to you later. And our mutual friend said, no, I don't think you will. And he said, fine, I don't have to talk to you anymore. And he said, no, you don't. Matter of fact, get off my property. Pulled a gun out. My friend's getting into his car. Our former mutual friend pulls the gun out, goes over and sticks it in the window of the car and says, get off my motherfucking property and never come back here again. The next time I see you, I'm going to kill you. All right? That's not on the keyboard. That's not on the keyboard. That's not even, these two guys are not even online. All right? Neither one of them have an online presence. This is in real life today over something that may happen. So yeah, I'm convinced that we're not going to get through an election without violence, and we're not going to probably have a peaceful second term if that were to be the case. So I have very little hope, unfortunately. So yay, happy St. Paddy's Day. So yeah, that's why I feel that way about that. I've talked about the fact that neither one of them is going to be president, that this is all a distraction, that everybody's getting all bent out of shape over something that neither one of them are going to attain. Newsweek agrees with me. Joe Biden voters want Michelle Obama to run. And I've mentioned that Michelle Obama
Right.
and Gavin Newsom was who I had heard the two choices would be when they pull the old switcheroo and Biden wins the nomination and then says, I can't fulfill the duties, and the Republican or the Democratic National Committee will they will take it out of the people's hands and put in who they want. Trump came out and admitted that he sabotaged the bipartisan deal to secure the border because it made it much better for the opposing side. It's about him. It's not about the people. It's not about the safety not about closing the borders. It gives him something to run on at the moment. And there's no reason because of this. This is from Fox. The majority of the more than 3 million Nikki Haley supporters say they will vote for President Biden and not for Donald Trump. This is more than enough voters to sway the election. Again, this comes from Fox, and you know they're telling us the truth, but it's not going to matter because the MAGA people are already programmed that it's the last election was rigged and this one's going to be rigged too, and it's not going to matter because we've got a mental health crisis in our country. And finally, Senator Bernie Sanders has introduced legislation that would make a 32-hour work week the standard in America with no loss in pay per more perfect union. I've already seen some people come out in the TikTok realm and say, there's no way you're going to make me work less hours for the same money. Oh, wait. Oh, we got some Maroons in our country, Chris.
Yeah. That's troubling what you just said, though, about your friend.
It's going on all over the country, man. And the mainstream is not going to report it. We see it all the time. We see it displayed on the keyboards. We see it displayed in the chat rooms. We see it displayed, sometimes even in videos that people record. But it's happening in real life too. And this guy was just a second away from killing his friend.
Like, people take this stuff way too serious.
Yeah.
I mean, it's serious, but it's not that serious that you're ready to kill your friend. What? Come on, man.
Yeah.
That's a shame.
And it's and it's just a there is a level of I don't know if stress is the right word, but there's a level of I think intensity and dread that's kind of permeated throughout our society, and we see people that you would never think is going to be in a road rage incident going ballistic over something that happened. Just as an example, we see that quite often. Somebody says the wrong thing to somebody in a store, and all of a sudden, you got a full-on beat down going on. Anxiety. Is the anxiety level of our country, of our populace raising? Could that be a cause of what we're seeing?
I just think, there's just a whole bunch of psychotic people walking around this country. You know, um, just how do we get this far? How do we get here to where like when have we ever seen violence over elections or seen violence over elections get to this point? Not, we haven't, have we?
Not here.
Yeah.
No,
So
we've seen violence associated with politics, associated with unions, fighting for workers' rights and things like that, but not I'm going to kill you because you don't support my candidate. That's
that's
neo-Nazi brainwashing. That's repeating a lie over and over again until it's believed, and the person believing it thinks that they haven't been lied to, and everybody else is an enemy, except for the one person that they can go to for the truth. And in this case, that's Donald Trump. And what I just defined is not a political movement. It's the classic definition of a cult.
Yes, that's correct.
I'm sorry, but it is, So, all right. Coming up Monday, I'm going to have a late episode Monday, Chris.
Okay.
Because Monday at 12 a.m., 12:01 a.m. on the 19th of March, I've got a song dropping. A set of lyrics I wrote about 45 years ago is going to be coming out in a release. It's going to drop at midnight on the 19th of March. And the name of the song is Sex on the Phone, and it has a female singer, and it's going to be available I'm happy to announce, it's going to be available on Spotify, on iTunes, on Apple Play, on Amazon, on iHeartRadio. It's going to be an international release. So my hope is that, since I wrote the lyrics and had some production, had a little bit to do with the production, that I might make enough money to, keep the rent paid and keep the show going on a, maybe I have to do a little less shows, but so I'm gonna have a pre-release episode Monday night. So you want to come on Wednesday of next week?
Yeah, Wednesday's good. Wednesday's fine.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Thank you, Jameson. Thank you, peace, love, and sunshine. The first verse is, have you ever laid in a bed alone, burning with desire, thinking so hard about your baby, set your pants on fire? Have you ever had to live a distance from what you want to own, and could you have the imagination to have sex on the phone? The chorus is, I can almost taste you, even though I'm alone. I cannot believe we just had sex on the phone. So it will have an explicit lyric warning. And I wrote this well before I was an ordained United Methodist minister, by the way. So I wrote it in like 1986, I believe, somewhere 84, 85, 86, somewhere in there. And I wrote it as a heavy metal kind of thing. And it's coming out as kind of a calypso slow jam with a female singer instead of me screaming it out. So, So that's what Monday night will be. I'll post the time when we're going to be doing that. We're going to have a little pre-launch party, and I'm going to have a bottle of champagne. Again, I'm hoping that it'll sell where I can make maybe $1,000 a month, and pay my rent and, not have to take a job, not have to unretire or unsemi-retire. But I've been applying for jobs because that's where we're at money-wise, Are you still there?
I'm right here listening to you.
All right, so I got a song coming out Monday night.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll be listening.
All right, and we'll do it Wednesday night at 9 next week then.
Sounds good.
All right, thank you, brother, for everything as always, and we'll talk between now and then, but we'll see you next Wednesday at 9 p.m.
Okay, sounds good. Check you out then.
There we go. That's Chris, everybody, and thank you all for being here. Help me spread the word, if you will. Let others know that it's not. I mean, it's not me. I'm not singing on it or playing on it, but I wrote all the words and part of the production. So I'm a little excited about it. I'm hoping that, like I said, it sells enough that we can keep on keeping on. Be honest with you, I'm due for one. Okay, just put sex on the phone on my calendar for Monday. Thank you, Nancy McMonarch. Thank you, Not Going Away, for everything that you do. Thank you, Peace, Love, and Sunshine. Again, thank you, Jameson. Guy Bassett, thank you for being here. Pat Tolliver. And let's see, who else am I overlooking here? Am I looking? Peace, Love, Sunshine. True, I'm sorry, True, man, I didn't see you in there. Hello, True. Hope you're still here. Always be kind. Thank you for being here. And Dennis Dixon, Pink Flamingo. Greatly appreciate y'all. Thank you for being in the chat. Thank you for watching live. Those of you that are watching at your convenience, bless you. Thank you for taking some time to watch this. Hopefully we've given you some things to think about. Hopefully you got a little better idea of why Haiti is where it's at the moment, and why the only solution is to let Haitians govern Haiti, and not European foreign influences. So the only way to actually make it successful down there is let them do their thing, which is what Chris and I have both been kind of trumpeting, if you will. So again, thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. Blessings upon you. Namaste. I love you all like chocolate chip cookies, and I wish you nothing but peace and good vibrations. Have an absolute fabulous rest of tonight and a great day tomorrow, but always, always, always just, keep your head up. Make sure you're not constantly in your phone and walk into a situation that you can't get out of. As always, it's a dark world. We need lights. If we can't be a light, if we don't have light inside ourselves, we can't be a light. So, if you're not a light, light the inside up. Still time. You know what I'm talking about. Be a light. The world needs more lights. It is